By the mid-20th century, America was at war overseas and at home. World War II would bring millions of African Americans into military service and industrial labor, exposing the contradictions of a nation fighting for freedom abroad while denying it to millions at home. This is the story of a generation that refused to accept inequality, fought for justice, and reshaped the United States forever. During World War II, more than 1.2 million African Americans served in the U.S. military. The Tuskegee Airmen, the first black pilots in U.S. history, flew with courage, breaking barriers in the skies. Segregated units served bravely, often in dangerous combat zones, while at home, racial segregation and discrimination persisted. The war sparked the Double V campaign. Victory against fascism abroad. Victory against racism at home. Black Americans recognized their service, demanded recognition, equality, and civil rights. The groundwork for the civil rights movement was laid decades earlier. Organizations like the NAACP, Urban League, and National Council of Negro Women fought legal battles, challenged segregation, and advocated for voting rights. In the 1940s and 50s, courageous individuals began challenging Jim Crow. Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color line in 1947, proving that black talent could not be ignored. Thurgood Marshall argued landmark cases before the Supreme Court, including the famous Brown v. Board of Education in 1954, which declared segregation in public schools unconstitutional. The fight for equality was gaining momentum. On December 1, 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white passenger in Montgomery, Alabama. Her act of courage sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, a 381-day mass protest led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and local leaders. African Americans walked miles to work, carpooled, and organized every aspect of daily life in defiance of Jim Crow. The boycott ended with a Supreme Court ruling declaring segregated buses unconstitutional. This was not just a victory for Montgomery, it was a symbol of the power of collective resistance. The 1960s became the decade of action. Sit-ins challenged segregated lunch counters. Freedom Riders rode interstate buses into hostile territory. Marches in Birmingham, Selma, and Washington captured global attention. On August 28, 1963, the March on Washington drew over 250,000 people. Dr. King delivered his historic "I Have a Dream" speech, inspiring the nation and calling for justice, equality, and an end to racial oppression. Legislation followed. Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed discrimination in public spaces and employment. Voting Rights Act of 1965 protected black citizens' right to vote. Yet legal victories did not end the struggle. Violence, poverty, and systemic racism persisted. Some African Americans demanded more than integration, they demanded empowerment, pride, and control over their communities. Leaders like Malcolm X emphasized self-defense, cultural pride, and independence. The Black Panther Party, founded in 1966, created programs to feed children, provide medical care, and educate youth while protecting communities from police brutality. This era, often called Black Power, challenged America to confront systemic inequality not just legally, but economically and socially. During the 1960s and 70s, African American culture flourished and influenced the entire nation. Motown Records brought black music into every household. Jazz, soul, and R&B shaped the soundtrack of America. Writers, poets, and artists explored identity, history, and resistance. Early hip-hop roots emerged in New York neighborhoods. African Americans were not only demanding justice, they were defining culture, style, and thought. By the late 1970s, African Americans were entering politics. Shirley Chisholm became the first black woman elected to Congress and ran for president. Jesse Jackson organized voter drives and civil rights campaigns. Cities began electing black mayors and council members. Yet urban poverty, police brutality, and systemic inequities remained. The struggle continued, evolving into new movements, protests, and debates about the meaning of equality. The mid-20th century proved that courage, unity, and resilience could change a nation. From bus boycotts to marches, From the courts to the streets, African Americans forced the United States to live up to its promise. They reshaped law, culture, politics, and identity. The story continues. Watch out for Part 6.